Sit back and enjoy.
Need help with your taxes? Have back taxes or someone to represent you with the IRS? Look to the experts at Ray's Accounting. With over 25 years experience, Ray's Accounting can help with any accounting situation from bookkeeping to payroll. Don't go it alone. Call Robin at Ray's Accounting today, 813-540-1040. That's 813-540-1040. Or check them out online at raysaccounting.com. Agent Ray is ready to help.
Hello, I am Robin, Agent Ray for those that know me, from Ray's Accounting. I am here to introduce you to an assortment of small businesses that support the backbone of the United States economy. I am supporting my neighbors, providing for their families, not large box stores supporting their CEO or board members. Sit back and enjoy.
Hey guys, thank you on this Friday. It's a wonderful Friday afternoon. Thank you for coming out here and joining us at the Small Biz Chan. I want you guys to help me give a warm welcome for our very own small business matchmaker from Ray's Accounting. Please welcome Robin Ray Huntley.
Thank you, Anthony. Thank you so much. And I want to introduce my co-host, which is Dill Conrad from the Little Country Parlor. And the brains behind the scenes that does all the technical stuff, Anthony Montgomery from Repair Your Tech. Thank you so much. And our guest this week is Glen Woo from LFM Lending.
Come on now, girl.
Sure I get that right.
Business.
You got it.
So Glen, thank you so much for joining. Please tell us something about yourself.
Wait,
Absolutely.
Glenn, tell us the name of your business, because I think I talked over it. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. The name of the company is NFM Lending, and I just recently found out what that actually stands for. The NFM is National Fidelity Mortgage, and then lending. But at some point,
how many years did it take you to figure that out, Glenn?
It took me 10 months, so almost 1 year. Almost.
That's okay. Now tell us about yourself. Now that we know what your company name is.
Well, thank you for having me on. I'm originally from Los Angeles, California, but had an opportunity to move out here to Tampa in 2004. Been living out here ever since. And fast forward to today, I'm a proud father of 2 and married, living in Brandon, Florida.
Proud father of 2 what?
2 wonderful children, 4-year-old and a 1-year-old.
Oh, how awesome!
So when I first met you, we're going to go back a little bit in your fast forward. When I first met you, you didn't have any children.
No, I was an expecting father at the time, and I had a lot of different emotions. A lot of it dealt with just fear and not knowing if I was going to be a good father, but that's just my personality. I always want to push myself.
So are you?
If I were to grade myself, I would give myself an A+.
An A+?
I don't think I'm the perfect father. I just think that parenting has become this ongoing learning process together with my wife.
It's a consistent evolution.
Yes, and there aren't any right or wrong answers. It's just really being empathetic and understanding that you talk to your children in a different way than you would talk with another adult.
So when's number 3 coming?
I don't know. I still talk to my friends like, "Oh, how are you doing? Oh, aren't you
save that for some
cute?"
special friends.
Glenn, when's number 3
gets
coming?
done doing that strawberry
Number
wine, but we won't talk about
is
that.
Not currently en route to this world. We had always discussed 2 was going to be the limit because we just really don't want to be outnumbered by the kids. And
did you say you had a boy and a girl?
Yep. My son is.
Oh, well, there's no more left to have, so you're okay.
Yeah.
Well, there's
Yeah.
always twins.
Oh, twins.
Yeah. Shoot for twins or
Shoot for each
triplets
of you.
next.
Now let's not overwhelm Glenn. So now we'll fast
He's like,
forward.
okay, I'm done being guest. This is over with.
Yes. He's like, okay, I've had enough. They're trying to make me have kids now.
No, I love this.
So tell me, when we had like a little practice run because someone didn't hit the live button a second ago, and you happened to mention about peaks and valleys in the business, and I asked you if we were in a peak or a valley, and you said it kind of depends. So go ahead and elaborate on that, please.
Sure. We were discussing the time period between moving out here to Tampa in 2004 and present day. And within the mortgage industry and real estate as well, there's definitely been peaks and valleys throughout that time. And to answer your question, whether we're in a peak or a valley now, it would really depend on what your situation is and what your needs are. If you're a person that's looking to refinance or consolidate your debt, it's a great time for you to do that because of how low the rates are. If you're someone who's looking to purchase a home, it's not necessarily a bad time, but there are challenges in this current market, primarily with inventory issues and just not having enough homes out there to serve the handful of buyers that are working in that $200,000 to $300,000 price range.
So as far as, because you said it's good for refinancing, and I'm assuming that what's like a really good interest rate right now?
Right now, I just had an opportunity to lock in a client onto a 15-year fixed mortgage, and he was able to go from, I believe, somewhere in the mid fours down to a 2.1%.
So how much would that save? That 2%, what would that, I mean, it might be off the top of your head, what would that save
I believe
somebody?
when we ran the numbers to compare in interest savings, like the actual amount they would save in not having to pay towards interest was a little over 80,000. And that's only considering them paying each and every payment.
So, Glenn, when you're talking to someone on refinancing, where would you say would be a good interest rate for someone to want to refinance? Obviously, if someone has something maybe 3.5 higher, jump on it. But what would be that number that you would say that would be instrumental that someone should really look at wanting to refinance?
Just spit it out, Robin.
I did.
Now, are you saying the number that they have currently, or what number they should consider as, I need to jump on this?
Exactly.
Well, no, the number that they currently have as their interest rate as opposed to what they could possibly obtain. So if I say that I know a client that has 5.25 interest rate, would that be a good time for them? Would it be beneficial for them to refinance?
I think I understand what Glenn's talking about when he's saying that if I had a $50,000 loan and I've got a 3% mortgage rate, dropping down to 2 is not a big deal. But I'm looking at what he just talked about, like when you're making an $80,000 dropping, that was what, 2% a difference? And that's $450 a month for that 15 years. That's a huge amount. So I'm assuming that the larger the home value's worth. So I guess that's kind of what we're looking for, is like where type of home value would be a good and with a percentage rate.
Correct.
Ideally, where you really want to be is you want the balance of what you owe on your mortgage to be 80% or less of what the value of your home is. So if you think that your home, we'll use round numbers, if your home is worth 100,000, then it would be prime for you to consider refinancing if you still owed 80,000 or less.
Okay.
If you owed more than that, it still might make sense, but the rates are going to be a little higher if you're in that bracket.
Right, because of PMI.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So if I only owed 100,000, if I had a house worth $100,000 and I owed 50,000, why would I even waste my time to refinance?
Depending on how long
Because
you've
don't
been,
I have to pay a whole bunch of closing costs and that kind of stuff all over again?
you would have closing costs that you'd be responsible for. I'm someone that really dives into figuring out what the need is, and everybody's need for refinance or finances in general are going to be different. I would say if you had just gotten into that mortgage and depending on that rate, what I would be looking at is comparing how much in actual interest payments that you'd be making through the life of the loan compared to what you might save if you were to refinance. And if it's not significant enough to cover what the closing costs are plus some, then I'm not a stranger to recommend that refinancing just isn't the right move at this time.
So for anyone who's just joined us, this is Glen Woo, and he does way more, I know, than just refinancing. So Glen, would you share with us again the name of your business and what are some of the main services you provide besides refinancing that someone might want to call you about?
Sure. Company is NFM Lending, and other than refinances, if you're a realtor and you just have a question that you'd like to ask a lender or a mortgage broker like myself, I'm always open to doing that. What I tell my clients and referral partners is I really enjoy what I get to do, and I've had the pleasure and honor of being able to do it for as long as I have. So I've learned a lot along the ways, and I think just deep down, I think I'm a teacher at heart. So
Now, when you're talking about that, especially learning, I'm totally confused and I can't get past it. What is PMI?
PMI stands for private mortgage insurance, and it's a premium that you pay as part of your mortgage. It's an additional amount to your mortgage that essentially is an insurance policy you pay for because you weren't able to put at least 20% down or refinance and have 80% or less of a balance that you still owe compared to the value.
So if I'm at 80%, do they take it off?
They are supposed to take it off. They tend to forget because they're allowed to forget.
So
So
it's
I would definitely recommend reaching out to your current mortgage company if you feel you're close or you definitely are 80% or less.
we need to be
And
talking to NFM Mortgage, specifically at NFM Lending. We need to be talking to Glen Woo.
not necessarily. I would say
Don't call Glen.
no, definitely call me. I would want to see what the situation is. If it made sense, I also am not a stranger to recommending that my clients go and get a second opinion because the truth is I feel confident enough that they're going to just be pushed back to me after they attempt to reach out to somebody else and don't receive the type of service that they would get from me. But yeah.
Well, with that said, Glen, what makes you stand out from a mortgage broker right down the road? How would you describe yourself as different, better, best?
I will say there are plenty of great loan officers and mortgage brokers that are out there, and as a community, we do connect and we share ideas. It's competitive, but we're also very fair, and we don't step on each other's toes, and we really genuinely want all of us to succeed. So I would say compared to some of the lenders that maybe don't focus on customer service or really taking care of clients, that's an area that I feel I can excel at. I've worked for big banks and and I've gone through their corporate training of understanding how to talk with different types of personalities, how to connect with different types of people. And I make all of my interactions with my clients personal. They know that they can call me at 9 o'clock in the evening on a Sunday night if they have just a question or something that's keeping them up at night. So I almost always become friends with a lot of my clients after the process. And I tell them all the time, it doesn't have to end at the closing table. Just because you receive the keys doesn't mean you can't call me anymore. Even if the loan, very commonly, the loans get sold to different banks to service them. That's not something that is going to change anytime soon. And I still tell my clients, even though it's been moved, please, if there's a question, if there's a concern, reach out to me first. And if it's not something I can help with, I can at least help guide them to where they need to go.
What's the difference between, I mean, it could be the same thing, but you referenced a lender and a mortgage broker.
Oh,
yes.
Oh,
are they the same or different?
They are not the same. Many use the terms interchangeably, so it feels like the same most of the time, but the definition that I understand it to be is that a lender is essentially a company that is going to loan their money to fund these loans. Now, in a lot of cases, they're using lines of credit to fund the loan just long enough so they can sell the loan after closing and replenish those funds. A broker, on the other hand, does not lend any of their own money. They partner with different banks and different institutions and bring clients as new loan applicants to these companies and provide the service almost as a middleman.
So when you're, as a mortgage broker, if someone comes to you and says, hey, I'm a first-time home buyer, I'm about to buy a home, and we come to you and go, okay, Glenn, I have no idea what to do now, and you do all the research. Now, do you use, this is definitely because I don't know what I'm talking about, do you shop around the mortgage? Does that make sense? Or is it one company that you work with? Like, do different companies have better interest rates?
I've started explaining our company's model, which is a bit unique because I call it the progressive of the mortgage industry, where at our core, we are a lender. When we close loans, we're going to be using our money, our funds. The paperwork at closing will say NFM Lending. But like Progressive, we also partner with different lenders and other institutions as an opportunity to really bring the best value to our clients. So in a sense, we are a broker because there are times where if we're not the best option or we can't supply a certain type of program that a different company can, we have the partnerships in place to be able to offer that in the same exact way that a mortgage broker does. But in many cases, if you fit into the standard conventional FHA or VA type of loan, 99% of the time, when we compare with our partners, we're going to always be the best.
Would you care if I bring up the website, the NFM Lending website? You want to walk us through that a little bit?
Sure.
There we go. And let me see if I can show you guys what we're seeing on stream.
Let's see it.
I know.
Right?
I told you he's the man behind the scenes.
Now, are you going
It'll pop up here in a moment for you.
My NFM website or just the general company?
General company, I think.
I have the general company, but do you have one specifically I can go to?
Yeah, it's the same nfmlending.com/GWOO.
Oh, see, we were trying to figure out that
Yeah,
information before we brought you
I'll
on.
put that in the comments.
Oh, nice.
Oh, fancy. I know that guy.
I know, right? I feel like I'm with somebody famous here on stream.
Hey, before we let Glenn start talking about his site, I just want to give a personal reference that I know lots of people that have actually worked with Glenn, and he really is, the way he is with his family, which is loving, caring, and kind, is exactly the way he is with his clients. I mean, he's not two different people. He is the person that you're seeing right now, and he is very calm, cool, and collected. And I highly recommend that if you're nervous about first-time home buyers or going to get a loan, or you need information, this is definitely the man to call. Glenn, can you work with people out of state?
At this time, I'm only licensed in the state of Florida, but within NFM, they're licensed in, I think, a little over 40 states across the nation. So if it is something that's out of state, I do have opportunities to share that, but still have it within the company.
And you can call Glenn in the middle of the night, and he does answer the telephone and answer your questions. And I remember the first time I met him, he sent an email out to our group, and it was like at 2 a.m. that this email came through, and I was like, whoa, what's anyone doing up at 2 a.m.? So this man, I don't know how he happened to like get 2 kids, because he works all the time, but there must be break time in there somewhere. So now go ahead, talk about your website.
I was just gonna say, Jill, you didn't know about the birds and the bees, how that happens.
Well, I know I don't have kids, and I work all the time, so.
So one of the first things that I notice here is an apply now button.
With that said, Anthony Montgomery.
Yeah, I know, right? So one of the biggest things that looking at this, I mean, somebody can just jump on. Oh, wow. So yeah, it looks like there's a lot. So we can actually, are you guys seeing the webpage?
Yep.
Okay. So it looks like we can kind of put everything in. Now, do you have separate paperwork, or do you just go to your own website when you're working with somebody and put this in? Is that?
I have found that all of my clients now prefer to just go on the website. I'll give them the option. Prior to the pandemic, I would give them the option of meeting in person to go through the application. We could do it over the phone, or I could just give them a secure link to my website where they can apply and get it done on their own time. And just about everybody picks the website. So this is where I send them.
Yeah, it's definitely very convenient. I see you got a returning. So say I've worked with you once and I already got a mortgage. Is that what is the returning applicant? Are you coming back for the same application, or is that like if I come to you a second time and want to work with you?
It's a combination of a couple things. When I'm first applying with the client, or helping a client apply, they would use the apply now to start that application. If we go to click on that, you'll actually see that one of the first things they're going to ask you to do is provide your contact information and agree to the terms and policies. But then the next screen is going to require you to set up an account, which is just a username and password. And after that, you have the opportunity to go through the questions and fill everything out. For those that maybe weren't prepared and didn't have the answers for some of the questions right then and there, they can exit that and then come back as a returning applicant to finish that application.
Oh, nice. So as long as they actually complete, that's where the second page comes in, right here. So once they have their username and password, boop, we can just come back in, continue filling out with what I had. Okay, I like that.
Or when they're requesting more documentation, they may have filled out everything, but now they want more documentation. So there would be a returning client to come in, log in, and then upload whatever documentation that's needed for the loan.
I see.
I do want to also state that, again, The contact information has been asked by Jill's friend Joe, the pool guy. So if you could go back to the first page so the contact information can be seen, and you're gonna want to call Glenn. His personal mobile number is 813-506-7947, and the office number is 813-906-1602.
Glenn, do they still have is there still like a benefit for first-time home buyers? Or is that null and void now? Because I never got that.
There are still programs that are out there that have funding. At this time, as of, I think it was March or April, NFM had either not renewed or is not working with the down payment assistance programs, at least in our office. So once they return, I have a few people that are just on standby waiting for it.
So let me tell you about my story when I bought my first house all those years ago. I just filled out the paperwork. I gave the person what I needed to give them. I got an incredibly high interest rate because as a hairdresser, I went with non-income bearing loan. Mm-hmm. So it was like almost 9%, but I didn't know better. And I got to closing, signed all the paperwork, left, got home, started reading the paperwork. Now I learned a lesson. And I looked at it and I'm like, how is my $102,000 loan going to end up costing me $300 and some thousand? So I called up my person and I'm like, you made a big mistake on the paperwork. I said, this says 300 and some thousand. I had no idea how that interest rate accumulated. So let me tell you, seeing I'd be tripling the cost of my house, I ended up paying my house off in 3 years, but it was a lot of work. But I think that really needs to be explained to first-time home buyers because I was blown away. I had no idea interest rate would bring that up so much.
Oh, yes. And it is funny that you bring that up because in October of 2015, and I remember this because this all started happening when I made a transition into the role that I'm doing now, which is selling the mortgages as opposed to processing and working customer service behind the scenes. And now I forgot what I was talking about.
It's Friday afternoon. We've all been got our drinks.
We were talking about interest rate and how much, for the home buyers.
Yes,
how much
yes. So there was new legislation and regulations that came out where now there are forms that just put it in bold 15 or 20 point font, and it breaks it down in a way where it's easily understandable and you see all the numbers. Nothing is just overwhelming at all. And of course, I give the loan estimate is what they receive up front before the process gets started. Just before closing, they get a similar document, looks all the same, but has the final numbers, and that's called the closing disclosure. And they have to receive that at least 3 days before closing so that they have a chance to review and ultimately decide if they're going to proceed with the transaction.
Yeah, I probably, honestly, if I would have seen that amount, I probably wouldn't have bought my first house. So it's probably a good thing I didn't see it. And I really would have liked to have been talked into a 15-year. What would you recommend? Do you, as when you're first talking to a first-time home buyer, would you recommend a 10, 15, or go with the 30?
It depends, again, on the situation. 15 is going to give you that better rate. Right now, I'm actually seeing that the rates are maybe 1/4% from each other, so it's not a huge difference. So if it's a client I'm working with where they feel they want the benefits of the 15-year, but they didn't feel comfortable with how much that payment was because it's much higher, we can help them calculate what they would need to pay in the 30-year program to be able to pay it off within 15 years and save on the same amount of interest that they would have paid.
Can you do a 20-year loan?
We offer a 10, 15, 20, 25, and 30.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's interesting.
I just had that very same conversation with my son, who is buying his first home in Austin, Texas, about the interest rate and paying off sooner. So, yeah, it's an interesting talk. I know that my son will pay it off before his term because that's just how he is. He paid off his car in like 2.5 years when he bought his first car. But that's because his mom has been speaking economics to him for quite a long time.
Oh,
So,
So
yeah.
the interest rate, Robin, with the way taxes and things have changed, do you get to deduct interest what you pay in interest anymore, or it's
well, it really depends on that because if you are married filing jointly, first of all, you're capped on your taxes at 10,000. So if you have this large home and you're paying, $100,000 a year in taxes, you're only able to write off 10,000, and your mortgage interest and taxes and charitable contributions have to equal 24,400. Single 12,200, had a household 18,600, I think it is. Now all these numbers off the top of my head. But so it really depends. I did find that after the Tax Cut and Job Act that a lot of people were not itemizing anymore. They were taking the standard deduction, especially, the people that almost have their houses paid off and they don't have very much mortgage interest.
Yeah, it was so interesting because I had someone trying to convince me to go ahead and not pay my house off so that I could deduct the interest. And all I thought, my little feeble mind was saying, well, why would I want to pay any interest?
Absolutely. So
pay the
you're
house
not
off?
going to pay it off. You're not going to pay it off to save a couple of $100 in taxes when you get a standard deduction. Oh my God, people that think, okay, calm down.
Woosah.
Don't get me on a tangent. So I really do, though, Glenn. I want to thank you so much for coming to join us today. And please,
Absolutely.
can you
Thank you.
tell us one thing that we can do to help you grow your business?
Yeah, absolutely. If you have friends or family members that own a home now or are thinking about owning a home, if the word mortgage ever comes up in conversation, please, it would mean the world if you would let them know that you know somebody or you can refer somebody that you trust that will take good care of them. That's really the best thing that anybody can do to help my
What's the
business.
perfect client for you? Customer, client, whatever they are.
Perfect client, really, I guess I'll share what my favorite type of client is. My favorite type of client is that first time home buyer, whether it's a single person or couple that comes to me with the fear that they just don't qualify and that they are not in a position to purchase a home. And for some that may be true at that moment, but I work with these people to get them to where they need to be. And nothing is more enjoyable about what I do than seeing these families at the closing table. I'm like getting emotional. Just so happy because they're achieving something that they've always dreamt about but felt that they couldn't have. So
I got one more
Absolutely.
question real quick.
yeah.
What's the difference between FHA loan, the different loan types that someone can get?
Sure, different loan types. I feel like I keep saying this, so I don't want to sound repetitive, but it really does depend on each person's situation. If you're looking for the lowest rate, best terms, I would say conventional is what you want to lean towards because just right off the bat, PMI, the private mortgage insurance we talked about, that goes away at some point with that conventional loan. Whereas with an FHA loan nowadays, the PMI is on there for life. So you'll be paying PMI even if you only owe 10% of the value of your home.
Oh,
That's
wow.
when you refinance.
That's
over
interesting.
conventional.
Right. That would be an opportunity to refinance because your loan doesn't have the option of removing that PMI.
Isn't there another one? FHA, conventional, and something else?
VA is for veterans. So you do have to qualify as a veteran to receive those loans. And if you do qualify as a veteran, deservingly, you are going to get the best options. The rates are going to be the best. The qualifications
And you can, for veterans, they don't have PMI. Just you could take the full loan of the.
Oh, wow.
Yep. They can do 100% financing, which is no down payment. I'm actually working with 2 veterans at the moment that were able to negotiate the seller to pay for their closing costs. So they are literally going to closing and getting a check back because they put $1,000 as a deposit, and they're getting not the whole amount, but they're getting a refund check and the keys.
Wow.
Do you talk, Glenn, to people if, let's say someone's buying, they have one house and they decide, hey, we're going to either downgrade or upgrade, and they're buying another house in Florida. Do you talk about the portability tax? Because let me tell you, that saved me thousands of dollars. And luckily someone happened to mention it to me, but nobody else did. It was a very quiet thing.
I don't bring it up enough these days because I think I'm just not interacting in person with agents and clients. But I actually train real estate agents to use that as an opportunity to reach out to a past client or a current client, just to either remind them to file their homestead exemption, or if it is somebody who is moving from one primary residence in Florida to another primary residence, it's an opportunity to check in and say, hey, did you know that you can call the county and fill out some paperwork and be able to transfer the homestead exemption amount that was left in your prior home into that new home, which then gives you more than the $50,000.
Oh, it's a big amount.
Right. So your property taxes are going to be much lower.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I've never heard about that. But I sure did write it down for my notes for later.
If someone doesn't do the portability right away, Glenn, can they come back and do it later?
There's a time limit. I don't know it off the top of my head, but I think it may be a year. So you do have a year to. It's not forever. I know it's not forever.
Yeah, that was huge.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you want to tell us before you leave? Maybe, hey, watch out for this, or hey, make sure you ask this question, or let's go back to the first-time home buyer. Is there anything you want to tell them to, if they don't call you, and then they can always call you after? Is there just anything you would say, hey, just remember to do this?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say go with your gut, because almost every single time when you feel something inside you that doesn't feel right, it usually turns out to not be right. So if you are working with someone and you just don't have that warm and fuzzy feeling, you feel as though the person just something doesn't feel right, I would recommend accept that feeling and respond to it, and then just pick up the phone, or whoever referred you that loan agent knows at least a dozen other ones. So ask them for a different referral and just let them know the personalities didn't work. I didn't really connect with this person. And yeah, that's the best thing that I can recommend, because working with the wrong person is just not only the worst experience, but you're putting yourself at risk of losing your deposit and ultimately losing a lot of money and still not getting the home. So it's just not worth it. If you feel something's wrong, act on it.
I think I could, I'll say this on behalf of Robin and Anthony, that we all know you, Glenn, and we love you very much. And I have deep respect for you and what you do in your business. And I will say that we don't invite people onto this podcast that we don't 100% have faith in and trust in, because it's our reputation too. And I would definitely put my reputation online for you, Glenn, because I know that you will take care of anybody that calls you. And I really appreciate you taking the time and coming out and chatting with us, because you honestly are the best.
Yep. Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Glenn. Talk to you later.
All right. You guys have a good weekend.
Thank you, Glenn.
Thank you, Glenn.
Bye.
That was very informative of Glenn to be on here and to tell us these things. I didn't know about the portability tax, and I sure did write that down. But
That's huge. Everyone should know about that, but they're not going to tell you. I mean, if they may
is that
forget
just
to tell
something
you, but
here in Florida?
that saved me about $3,000 a year in property taxes just because I had my
Wow.
house for 20 years and I moved that right on over. I would have been paying a lot more
Is that
Mm.
just
every
in
year.
Florida?
Well, I know it's for Florida because obviously I'm here in Florida, but I'm sure that's probably every state would. But you have to have a house, and then you have to buy a house in Florida. You have to keep the same state. You can't
Oh,
go
okay.
from Florida to Indiana and take your portability. It won't work.
Okay.
Oh. Well, I mean, that's definitely something that, later if Katia plans on upgrading, because she has now purchased a home, say in 5-10 years, she wants to upgrade to a different home, she could take her portability tax over there. That is really great. And my
Yep.
son, who is young, right, and he's 26 and he's buying his first home when he plans on moving over upgrading or whatever, that's why I was like, is this only in Florida or could this, be in other states as well? And
Ah.
then, also having the, Joe, your friend Joe, asked a
Hi,
question
Joe.
that he wanted to uh, be able to get his number. So, a contact. I certainly hope that, having Glenn on here and still supporting those small businesses, that we're informing you guys enough that that we know, like, and trust these people, that you utilize their services.
Yep. Absolutely.
So what did you learn, Anthony?
So the whole PMI is
PMI
just
insurance, get it off your loan.
exactly because I'm wondering now I need to go look at our mortgage and find out like what the breakdown is because I've been paying on ours for 15 years now and I'm
Wow.
willing to bet we probably still because our payment I don't think's ever changed. I don't think it.
Then you need to check that 100%. PMI is such a
And it's not cheap. You're paying
no, it's not.
you're paying over $100 a month for it.
Oh,
And it's fraud. It's fraud because look, when the mortgages and the housing thing sunk before, this is an insurance. The bank still had to get bought out, but that's political. We're going to keep my mouth shut now.
so my thought is what it sounds like to me is it's an insurance to actually cover the bank if you default for that if they sell it for 80% of whatever the value is it covers that additional 20% or something like that. That's what it sounds like to
I
me.
don't know why it's on there, but it sucks.
I
Well,
know.
in case you don't pay your mortgage with all the foreclosures. So that's an insurance company that's supposed to give the bank back their money.
Well, I want somebody to give me back my money if they foreclose on my house.
Right.
How do I get that? Maybe we should start that business.
There you go.
That's a good insurance. Yeah, can't make your payment, we'll get you your money back.
Yeah, good luck on that one.
We only charge double what your mortgage rate is.
Absolutely. So, Jill, I'm just curious, what are you guys doing this weekend? Because I know you're just back from vacation.
Woo, yeah, we're back from vacation. We'll probably be taking care of honestly sick pets, which sounds like a lot of fun. I actually got back early and people talked me into coming to work, so I actually will go to work tomorrow and we're gonna do fall decorating, which I can hardly wait because we're way behind on that. So we're big decorators at my house, so that's what we're gonna be doing: pumpkins and hay bales and all kinds of crap.
I thought you were
Oh,
supposed to be remote today.
No, I had to come home because I had sick pets.
Oh.
And it's Friday, and I decided I really needed to be and do inherit the assisted living facility today.
That makes sense. Definitely makes sense.
Which I did.
You went to work today. I thought you were on vacation still.
Well, yes, and I worked. But I left my little assisted living facility. They missed me, and I was gone for 2 weeks from them, and so I kind of have to get back on a routine over there, and they're like my extended family. So I really miss them and wanted to come back. How about you, Robin? What are you doing this weekend?
Oh, well, I'm with hubby decorating, getting some bales of hay for out front for Halloween. And on Saturday, over here at Salty's, they're having a market where they're going to have a whole bunch of different vendors out there. And Kitty Corral, who is a nonprofit that takes in animals, cats and strays and dogs and stuff like that, she's going to have a table over there. So I'm going to go over and show my support to all the small businesses in the area and see what little vendors are out there.
Makes sense.
Cool.
That is.
I know what Anthony's doing. He's calling up his mortgage company.
Quite possibly that, and trying to sleep my ear off here. I've got I don't know if you guys have had problems with sinuses lately, but yeah, all the squirrels.
Are you sure it's sinus?
Oh, absolutely. So my ear is like swelling from where it's clogged.
Whoa.
Yeah, so I flushed it right before I actually jumped on stream because I knew I wouldn't be able to put my headset on and actually hear. But we've got like squirrels. I'll have to get pictures. We probably got like 15, 20 squirrels here at the house. And because we have those oak trees, they throw the nuts everywhere. I mean, we walk outside, they start throwing them at us. It's now becoming like we're at a war with these squirrels.
I want to
Dodge!
Exactly.
Dodge! Here's the squirrels up
As soon
there.
as we open the door, we got to run to the truck because these squirrels are up in the tree like pow, pow.
They're dodging nuts. Dodge nuts.
Yep.
That's funny. I've seen like 2 or 3 of my friends on Facebook lately. They have baby squirrels with little eyedroppers, and they're feeding these baby squirrels. And I'm like,
well, what's great is these squirrels, because we have so many, every year they bring owls, which is fantastic because, yeah, we started off the season probably 40 squirrels, 40, maybe 50 squirrels. And we're down to 15, maybe 20 at the most. And the owls,
Does the owls eat them?
I don't, maybe they transport them to a new area. I don't know.
Oh, that's a nice way to put it.
I just know that they get along really well because they cohabitate the woods behind us.
Hey, I heard a rumor.
Oh.
uh-oh, what was that?
I heard a rumor if you have owls in your yard, you're a swinger, Anthony.
I do like to jump on swings. I mean, the back and forth, it's the rocking motion. It makes me feel really,
I mean, I don't know what it means when they're live owls, but
I thought that was a pineapple. Someone told me it was
owls
a
and
pineapple.
pineapples.
So
if you're in Fishhawk and you have owls.
So we have a dog pool in the backyard. Just
with pineapples?
No pineapples, but that's where the owls go. So when we get up,
really in the pool?
Yes, and they'll be there early in the morning. It's the only time we'll see them in there.
Okay, you need to take some pictures and put them. I want to see them next week on Friday.
Oh, we haven't seen them in like a month.
Cool.
They disappeared like a month ago, and they'll be back next year. They do, and they keep us up all night, all summer long, and then boop, at the end of the year they're gone, and then they'll come back next year. So yeah, they're starting like that's the reason why the squirrels are starting to throw the nuts at us. Is because the owls are gone.
Maybe if you got a fake owl and you put it up in your tree, you wouldn't have any squirrels.
I didn't think about that.
Would that work?
I should try that. I should.
Kind of like the whole old rumor of a scarecrow in your garden.
Yeah, you wouldn't have crows.
That's a good idea.
So now we know what Anthony's doing this weekend. He's going out to buy a plastic owl, and he's going to climb up in the tree and put it up there.
That's a lot of work.
Right after he calls his mortgage company.
I need a blow up owl. That'd be so much easier because then I could blow it up.
Did you say a blow up doll?
No, an owl.
Yeah,
an owl.
did.
Well, hey, if it scares the squirrels, I don't care. Just throw it up in the tree. My neighbors might not appreciate it. They may actually. Well, I don't know. I got a couple of neighbors that might think it's funny.
Look, Anthony, look how red he's getting.
I know, right?
I know, right?
I knew I could do it.
So what are you drinking today, Jill?
No, I only have. So I went to Fred's, which is a little family place.
Oh.
It's backwards. Fred, and Fred's Market in Riverview, and there's also a Fred's
It's on
in
301 right around the corner from here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's amazing. If you guys want home cooked Southern buffet
They
food,
are
you got to wear gloves.
delicious.
It's amazing.
And it's an all-you-can-eat buffet. It's trouble when you're on a diet.
Yes.
Trouble, I'm telling you.
I have to put in 3
Even if
hours
you get
extra
the
to beat
senior
Saber.
plate. Just saying. Not that I've been there.
Yeah, it's trouble.
So what's in your cup?
So I have
Anthony.
a
What Kool-Aid are you drinking today?
light strawberry cream.
Shoot.
Mm.
Robin, what's in yours?
I have water in my cup. And I didn't have any wine in the office, but I did go and grab myself a beer.
You know,
Cheers.
can't you?
Cheers.
Cheers. Can't you have wine delivered now?
I do, actually, and it was delivered to my house.
Oh. What?
I know.
Hey, last week, Robin, we were talking about the contact with the COVID person. Did you get your office all cleaned up and all that?
Yes, my office, I had the cleaning people come in. My office was sterilized. It was closed for 4 days.
Ooh.
They talked about doing the, if I was going to open up the next day, I had to put the bomb in the air conditioner to fog and sterilize everything, or I could close for 4 days.
That's what I'm picturing. The AC just exploding. Just throw the bomb in there. It's done.
I was like, yeah, and with the different costs, I chose to just go ahead and close my office for 4 days.
Yeah, because
4 days before October 15th. Brilliant.
Right,
idea.
which was yesterday, and I'm like, oh.
blowing up
So
AC
happy.
units certainly is not going to help that bill. So I could see the reason why you avoided blowing up the AC.
Yeah, yeah, that would have been a big bill.
Well, if anyone's still watching us out there in Podcastville,
And no, we're not a
appreciate you.
podcast. We are a vodcast.
What the hell are
We're
we?
stream.
Vod-
A stream.
Okay, back in Streamville. And I'm so glad Robin actually hit the live button so you guys could see us today. But if you're still listening, and you guys, if you ever have any questions for one of our guests, please feel free to reach out to one of us and we'll answer them for you. If you need information that you didn't get on the stream, we would be more than happy to help you. And if you want a personal recommendation for anyone that's on the stream, please reach out to us because we'll definitely let you know what we really feel about these people.
Absolutely.
Which is love and compassion.
And you know, it's always, I get calls all the time from different clients. Hey, Robin, I need whatever. And I'm like, oh, hold on, wait a second. I got a guy. So I will go into my Rolodex of people that I've met that I know.
Dan, how old
that I
are
like
you? You
and
have a
I
Rolodex?
trust. Well, you know, it's my mental Rolodex.
Oh.
I've got the stone statues that I still chisel out.
Stop!
Wait, I'm older than both of you, so shut the hell up.
Really?
Might think you guys are. I just age very well. I'm like a fine wine.
Yeah, you're
No,
like a fine wine, all right,
Anthony,
turned
you're
into
the baby
vinegar.
of the group. I'm sorry. I
Cooking
know
wine.
that to be true.
Just keep me stuffed in the bottle. I'm good.
Hey, make sure you give Jennifer our 11 hugs and kisses.
Will do.
Anthony. Same with Tony, even though he's
And same with
No, I'm
Dan. Same with Dan. It's absolutely
will.
amazing. So, folks, I really want to thank you for coming to watch us today. And remember, Glenn, he said to help him grow his business, if you're thinking of anyone that is talking about a mortgage, first-time home buyers, to go ahead and give him a call. His number and information is in the comments. So please reach out to him. I want to thank you so much for showing up. Remember, when you're out this weekend to shop small business, your weekend starts now.